This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order, and the chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilman Harris is absent today. Councilman Williams.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Eccles.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Cannon.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present. The meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask David Lawson to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, we're thankful for another opportunity to see a new day. We are thankful for the opportunity to live in a nation of freedom, and we ask your guidance as we elect those who will represent our causes. We ask that your hands be involved in all levels of our government at the local, state, and federal level. We also want to keep in mind those who have been ravaged by storms. We ask that you continue to be a source of comfort and relief as they rebound from the effects of Superstorm Sandy. We ask that you continue to have your hands covering our troops as they are still overseas fighting for what we have here in this nation, freedom. We will be ever thankful and grateful to give you the praise and the glory. For these things, in the name of your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting, work session, and City Council meeting held on October the 30th.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve the minutes.
Chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of the accounts for the week of October the 26th through November the 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamations, Mayor.
Would Carol Larkins, Sharon Yancey, and Diane Rampy come up, please? You're going to have to make a speech. We had a little confusion. I read this last week, and the dates got mixed up, so I'm going to read it again, since music is important to all of us. We do have a lot of music here in town. You know, we have the youth orchestra, the Gadsden Symphony, the strings in the elementary school. So we have a lot of music on First Friday as well, all kinds. Whereas music plays an increasingly important role in our world today and is one of the most sublime of human pursuits and is subscribed to by all races and creeds. Music is also the language of all people and one of the greatest forces creating peace and harmony. The Alabama Federation of Music Clubs, the National Federation of Music Clubs, and cooperating organizations dedicated to encouraging young musicians to increase their musical knowledge and advance American music join forces to direct attention to the dynamic influence of music in everyday living. Therefore, I, Sherman Guyton, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, by the virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2012 is Parade of American Music Month in Gadsden, and ask all citizens of this community to observe and take part in activities that recognize the importance of music, musicians, and the musical organizations to the cultural life of our city, state, nation, and world. Would you like to say something?
Yes.
Well, Mayor, City Council, I am Carol Larkins from the Gadsden Music Club, and it is such a pleasure to accept this proclamation. The National Federation of Music Clubs was founded in 1890s, and they were the first ones to promote American music. That was why it was founded. And also, I want to thank you for helping us, the Gadsden Music Club, to keep music in our schools. Our children are fantastic when they become musicians. Not only do they stay out of trouble, they excel in their studies, and so many other things that whenever they have music in their lives. And we appreciate everything that you have done for us. Thank you very much.
Think I was playing a little tune.
Play my little tune.
Unfinished business, we have none. New business, is there any new business? I think we had one, didn't we?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I have one item to ask for unanimous consent to consider today. It's a resolution approving a special events license to Ducks Unlimited.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move for passage.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir. As I mentioned before, this is a special events license request for Ducks Unlimited for an event that's going to be held November the 17th. And as I understand it, this event's going to be held at the Pittman Theater on that day.
Any other? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Department reports, committees, are there any? Remarks by the mayor and the council. Ben, you want to start?
That was pretty quick, wasn't it? Well, I got a question before I start on mine.
Okay.
What station on AT&T do we appear on? Does anybody know?
99.
Is it still 99?
Comcast.
Comcast.
99.
Yeah, but I'm not on Comcast
You
anymore.
don't get
I'm
it?
not on Comcast anymore.
Yeah,
You don't
you
get
don't, you don't get it.
I don't
Tim.
get it?
Uh-uh.
Well, I guess I'll have to go back to Comcast.
You have to go to YouTube now.
can pick it up on your computer, though.
Yeah, you can go to YouTube.
Oh, that's right, I did, okay, yeah. Well, that was my question of the day, anyway. All right. Saturday night, I went to the Reverend Fred Huff's roasting, and I'm gonna tell y'all something, that was unbelievable. Derek, you missed something. The singing was good, they had 3 good dancers there. They roasted the Reverend really well. And Preacher Love, do y'all know Preacher Love?
Yeah.
He got out there and imitated him, it was unbelievable. But it was doggone funny, it was unreal. Mr. and Miss Sturdivant let me sit with him. I thought that was great. Of course, I had to give him my meal because I had to leave early. Alabama was playing and I slipped out. Fred, I'm sorry about that, but I did warn you, I had to go. The Gadsden Museum of Art has got a World War II exhibit, and I think it would be to our benefit for everybody to go see that. It's letters, it's weapons, it's just all sorts of things about World War II and after, and I think everybody would be blessed to go see it. It'd be great. The last word I got, the Gadsden Etowah Patriots Association luncheon is tomorrow. It starts at 11:15 at Convention Hall. Our speaker this year is going to be Lieutenant Colonel Herbert Carter, who's retired from the U.S. Air Force, and he was a member of the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails. General Joseph Smokin' Joe Stringham is going to be the one passing out all the inductee plaques and so on and so forth. That'll be a highlight also. And this guy is a member of the Ranger Hall of Fame, Hall of Honor, which is a great honor in itself. Colonel Ola Lee Mines will be passing out an award, the first one bearing his name to a deserving individual for their work above and beyond the call of duty this year. Breaking it down into a patriotic situation, 8 of these people to be inducted tomorrow are from our greatest generation, the Second World War. These people fought at Bastogne, Iwo Jima, Tarawa, Guadalcanal, southern France, the Battle of the Bulge, North Africa. It's unbelievable about what they did do. And now,
Italy.
and well, of course, in Italy, they did.
Anzio.
Yes, Anzio. I thought Bastogne was very important at that
Bastogne is very important.
Yeah. The many awards,
We had 2 or 3 people that fought at the Battle of the Bulge.
yeah. To be there tomorrow and see these guys around that table and know what they did and where they had been is going to be really, not only just patriotic, but it's going to be unbelievable, knowing that they're from the greatest generation, what they did accomplish.
And
I
all
think,
of them are probably in their 80s.
Yeah, 80s to 90s probably, some of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 94. He's 94 years old. And I think I was going to mention that he's bringing Colonel Roosevelt Lewis with him. And in case anything, heaven help us, nothing happens, but in case, he will step in and take over. So, well-rounded, it's going to be a good session, and like Bob says about where they've been, what they did, we've also got Korean and Vietnam inductees coming in, so we know what they did. But I would tickets are going to be $10 at the gate, at the door, coming in, and I would just encourage everybody to come down and see this, be a part of it.
Thank you, Mr. President. All I want to do today is remind everyone today is voting day. Just make sure you go out and vote. That's all I have.
Bill?
I yielded my time to Ben. He said quite a bit to present for us. And
Thank you very
He did
much.
it very well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And you have to realize that the World War II veterans are not too many of them left anymore. They're dying at a rapid rate. So we need to honor those that are left, really. I don't have anything.
I want to just take this opportunity again to thank everyone for their cards and their sympathy. I had another relative to pass. It's getting kind of scary. I think I've had 3 since September. I've had 2 aunts and a cousin. We were in Chicago this past week burying my uncle that lives there. But again, I thank everyone for their calls and texts and everything else for the family. Again, today is a very, very important day. It is election day. People have been talking about all the things that are going on around the country. You know, we in Alabama are kind of, I don't know what, insulated from all the hoopla and all the election stuff because we're considered a red state. Well, I was in Chicago, and Chicago is next door to Indiana, which is about 20-some miles away, and I guess Wisconsin is about 60 maybe miles away. I think Milwaukee is about 80-some miles from downtown Chicago, so I know Wisconsin is a little bit closer. But there you got that market where you're getting advertising from the people who are running for office in Indiana and the ones who are running for office in Wisconsin, plus the ones who are running for office in Chicago. And all last week, I never saw a real commercial. I mean, 24/7, nothing but political commercials. Didn't know who was running against who because all they were negative ads against the candidate. And, you know, I had to try to read the little writing down there to find out who they was running against. Then I come to find out none of the other candidates was running the negative ads. It was the PAC for a Better Government, the group who love everybody, and the group who hate everybody. I mean, it's just ridiculous what's going on around the country now. And I'm kind of glad we're not in that predicament. But I hope someday people will realize the importance of all this outside money. You know, I think we were discussing upstairs, the 2 presidential candidates probably spent about maybe $1 billion, but I bet you there's probably a piece, how much? About $5 billion, but I bet you there's been 30 or 40 billion spent by these, I love my government, or I hate John, or whoever, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, we've got to get away from that, and it's going to get to a point where a regular man or a poor man or somebody who have no connections can run for public office, period. And I think we're going to suffer as a result of that. I used to be the one who says I'd never seen a dollar go into a polling place. But after being in Chicago this past week, I think money can sway an election. I don't necessarily think it can buy an election, but it can sway an election. And we need to take that money out of it. If we can do that, I would hope down the road somebody will make that. I also learned in Chicago that they say, please, ma'am, and please, sir, go vote. and make sure you vote often. I mean, they were doing some of Richard Daley's old tapes, and I thought that was very, very interesting. But seriously, though, please, Madam Police, sir, go out and exercise your vote today. I mean, a lot of people have died for that right, and I would hate to see us pass it up on a day like today. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just did want to reiterate Ben's point about honoring our veterans this week coming up. I think that's very important. You know, again, I always like to say that I sit as an example for what people have fought and died for as relates to a number of the rights that we exercise. So again, it's important that we both honor them and recognize their sacrifice for us. Also, again, you know, we've you know, today is Election Day, encouraging everyone to go out and vote. You know, I stood in line this morning. Not the best day to be standing outside. It's kind of chilly and damp, and you know, just not the best situation. But that's you know, what I witnessed this morning as I stood in that long line was a very peaceful exercising of one of the most fundamental democratic rights that we have. And I think it's important that we, in spite of the weather, and in spite of whatever else may present itself, that we go out and exercise that right to vote. A couple of other things before I hand it off to the mayor. There's a straight ticket rumor that's out there, and there's going to be a lot of this stuff, so I'm not going to try to tackle all of it, but there's a straight ticket rumor out there that has people believing that if they vote straight ticket, that their actual choice for president won't be that vote won't be tabulated. And I can tell you now that I think there's some information on the Secretary of State's website that is refuting that rumor. So please, we've got some very good, we've got some very good folks working the polls, very dedicated folks working the polls all over the state that are helping to refute and dispel some of those rumors. So ask questions at the polls. Also, the list of forms of ID are still in play, and they're posted at the polling places. So if you're concerned about what forms of ID you need to place, you don't have to have that special government ID that we've heard a lot about here over the last few years. You only need one of the items on the list, or you need to be identified by a couple people at the polls, a couple poll workers. But if all else fails, cast a provisional ballot. So do not leave the polls without voting. I want to encourage people to, again, be persistent about exercising that right. I often chastise folks about asking more questions about what they're going to eat than they do about health care and about things of importance. And this is one of those things we need to ask a lot of questions about. Thank you.
Mayor?
I've been, and I don't want to say, well, the vote will be over, but I was told too, you talk about confusion, that if you vote straight ticket, then you can still vote for the other party on another section. I've never heard of that.
You can't.
To me, that's real confusion. I mean, why don't we just keep it simple? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
God.
It's confusing, but you can.
Anyway, I don't know when they started that, but, you know,
We try to tell people just to go down and vote individually. That way you don't confuse.
Yeah.
You just know,
That's right.
don't worry about the ticket up there, the straight ticket, because all Democrats ain't good and all Republicans ain't bad, or vice versa.
That's right.
So just vote your conscience and vote the individual that you know. And if you do that, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
There's so many of them on there this time, and it's not, they don't have any opposition,
Right.
no matter whether you vote for them or not.
Yeah. My favorite part really is all the amendments, especially the ones in other counties. You know, you don't know what you're voting on because, you know,
I
it
don't
can't
vote
be,
on those.
it can't be real simple where they tell you what it is. It starts out this way and ends up the other way, so you don't really know which way to vote on them anyway. But, you know, a lot of it's not brain surgery. It's just, we need a little more common sense in all the government. We could be a lot better off, but that's all I got. Be sure and vote today.
We're changing the subject a little bit. I hope everybody goes to vote, but I had the opportunity to, Sunday afternoon, go to the concert by the Edgewater County Youth Orchestra, which they're wonderful. Their Christmas concert is going to be the 15th of December. And you're really missing a treat if you don't go and see it. This is their 22nd year. I've been on the council long enough to remember when it started.
Yeah.
Robert and I did. And it has really been a great thing for the kids in this, but it's not only now in the city system, it's in the county system, and it's in the Tala. So by the time they start in the 5th grade and it gets to the youth orchestra, they got the most talented ones. And since we have 300 in just this city system that are in there now, and they have a lot of people to pick from when it comes to that. And they have a woodwind section as well as a string section. Anyway, support them. It's worth every penny of it. We had a cello girl and a boy did a concert right over there for us one time. It's unbelievable. And if I remember correctly, she got a $40,000 scholarship to Brown University. And that made it worth everything we've done in all these years.
Yeah.
Of course, she's not the only one that got a scholarship. That one was, she just happened to tell us about it. Okay, if there's not anything else, I'll entertain a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
This meeting is adjourned.